Welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking the time from your schedule to join us this morning, and we appreciate you joining us at the American Cancer Society Sandra J. Schulz Hope Lodge. I'm Matt Schaefer with the American Cancer Society, and without any further delay, I'd like to turn it over to Senator Carla Nelson.
Thank you, Matt. Well, good morning. It's great to be here in my home city, the Med City. It's especially great to be here at Hope Lodge, and I thank you for hosting this event today. I'm very excited in front of you today to announce that today Representative Benson and I will be introducing legislation that is a win no matter what perspective you look at it from. Our legislation will increase the cost on a pack of cigarettes to about what Wisconsin's is at this time. The bill is a revenue neutral bill. The money that is generated, the increased revenue, will go to two things. First, it will pay back that school shift that many of us detest that was part of that compromise in July. And we know how hard that was for legislators. We know how hard that was for our school districts and our officials to have that $700 million in delayed payments. So those payments will be paid back first, debt reduction. Once that is complete, the increased revenue will make us a more job-friendly state. It will buy down the business property tax, one of the elements that is a deterrent to our job creators and job providers. We know that increasing the cost on tobacco is good public policy. We know that youth are the most price sensitive, and we can deter kids from picking up this addictive habit. We know that it will also help adults who are struggling to quit themselves be more inclined to do so. And we know that improving the education of our students, of our children, is one of my top priorities. We know that it's a quicker way to pay back our schools. Now, unfortunately, these education shifts have been done historically in the legislature. We need to stop that. We need to have a better way to make decisions. I think repaying this school shift in a quicker manner, it will be good for our kids. I'm an avid supporter of a smarter approach to tax policy. And while I typically do not support tax increases, this is an exception. Right now, we have a high business property tax, and we have modest tobacco rates. We need to inverse that. We need to reverse that. The tobacco price increase will decrease tobacco use and produce additional state revenue to improve education and provide lower property taxes for businesses. I find it preferable to tax behavior that causes a dramatic increase in healthcare costs than to borrow from children or to tax job providers. You will recall that that first tobacco tax proposal harkens back to the Pawlenty administration and the recommendations from the 21st Century Tax Commission. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Representative Benson, who will be chief authoring this in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, thank you. I want to extend my thank you for being here this morning. It's an honor and a privilege to actually be asked to be the author and then the person to shepherd this through the Minnesota House of Representatives. Everyone in this room, family-wise, has had someone been touched by cancer. And for me, the central focus is to bend down that number of individuals and families impacted specifically by cancer-related deaths and illness due to tobacco use. Now, these are national numbers, but to give you some perspective, there'll be 226,000 new cases of cancer that are diagnosed this year from not just lung cancer, from tobacco use. There'll be 160,000 deaths. From 2000 to 2004, the United States in medical costs spent $193 billion on tobacco use issues. First and foremost, the bill is about making it more expensive for individuals to smoke, and more importantly for me is for our young people to make a decision that they're going to begin smoking. If we can bend that curve down, we'll make a dramatic effect in the future on cancer-related deaths because of tobacco use. You know, the idea that it's an issue that is tax-related is very near and dear to my heart too. I too am one that believe that taxes are something that we should use for specific things that government-related. I'm not into social engineering, but you know, this is an issue that's very close to me. And I think it's important that we use what we can, and a tax is certainly one of those things that we can. The data has shown that if we increase taxes on cigarettes and make it more expensive, that we'll bend down that use. So I want to thank you, and I know that there are other people here today. I'm going to introduce Molly. She'll have many more. I'm going to leave you with a figure that I just got, and that even with the amount of taxes that we already collect and the settlement that we already have on taxes, we spend an average of $554 per person in this state every year, over and above those other two things that we just mentioned, on cancer-related issues related to smoking and tobacco use. Thank you. Molly.
Thank you, Representative Benson. My name is Molly Moylanen. I'm the Director of Public Affairs for Clearway, Minnesota. Clearway is the independent nonprofit founded with part of the 1998 settlement with the tobacco industry. Our vision is to eliminate the harm tobacco causes the people of Minnesota. Clearway, Minnesota is one proud member of Raise It for Health, a coalition of great Minnesota health organizations and nonprofits who share a common goal of reducing tobacco use. Other members include the American Cancer Society, the American Heart Association, the American Lung Association, the Association for Non-Smokers Minnesota, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota, Children's Hospitals and Clinics of Minnesota, Health Partners, the local Public Health Association, Mayo Clinic, and the Minnesota Medical Association, among many others. Each year, tobacco kills more than 5,000 Minnesotans and costs us almost $3 billion for health care. Raise It for Health wants to raise the price of tobacco products in Minnesota because it prevents kids from smoking and helps tobacco users quit. Raising the price is the best way to reduce the devastating costs of tobacco use throughout our state. Minnesotans care about health and support policies to reduce tobacco use. So today, we applaud Senator Nelson and Representative Benson for their vision and leadership. On the behalf of the coalition, thank you for taking this important stand against tobacco. At this point, I'm going to welcome Dr. Ray Gibbons. Dr. Gibbons is a cardiologist at the Mayo Clinic. He served as the past president of the American Heart Association and is a passionate advocate for health. Dr. Gibbons, welcome.
Thank you, Molly. As you've heard, I do work down the street at Mayo, but I'm here as an individual representing thousands of volunteers at the American Heart Association. In 30 years of clinical practice in cardiology, I have seen literally thousands of individuals who have suffered from the adverse consequences of tobacco use and then struggled to quit. Within the last few weeks, I took care of a local resident whose only risk factor for coronary artery disease was 40 years of tobacco use when he suffered a heart attack. Within the last week, I had prolonged discussions with two individuals with known heart disease who are struggling to quit tobacco. It is on the basis of this experience that I feel that tobacco use should be an important public health priority. And I believe that this tax increase is an important public health step, both to encourage current smokers to stop and, more importantly, to prevent our youth who might become future smokers from starting. The use of tobacco is one of the leading preventable causes of death, cancer, and heart disease. We must recognize that the tobacco industry spends about $150 million in advertising in our state on an annual basis to try to encourage tobacco use, and that advertising is particularly aimed at our youth. But we know, as Senator Nelson has already pointed out, that tobacco use in our youth is price sensitive. When they're spending their own money on tobacco, which they typically are, they are very sensitive to the actual price of the product. And tobacco tax increases have reduced the rate of youth smoking in multiple states around the country. We can estimate that this $1.29 increase will lead to 26,000 current smokers stopping, and more importantly, prevent 35,000 Minnesota youth from starting. In 2007, the Freedom to Breathe Act in this state improve the quality of air in our bars, restaurants, and public places, and was a major step forward in reducing the exposure of all Minnesotans to secondhand smoke. Recent research from the Mayo Clinic presented last fall showed that if the combined effect of the county ordinance on tobacco use in around 2002 and the 2007 Freedom to Breathe Act in Olmsted County alone reduced the rate of heart attack by 45% and reduced the rate of sudden cardiac death by 50%. I believe that this legislation represents another great opportunity to improve public health and actually also to reduce the exposure of all Minnesotans to secondhand smoke. So I want to recognize Senator Nelson and Representative Benson for their sponsorship of this legislation. I've already personally thanked them. I want to publicly thank them at this time. And I want to encourage all Minnesotans to contact their senators, to contact their representatives, to urge them to support this important piece of legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gibson. Speaking on behalf of the Rochester Area Chamber, we have Scott Heck, who is the incoming chair. Scott.
Good morning, all. On behalf of the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce and over 1,300 members, we thank Senator Nelson and Representative Benson for this opportunity to discuss this legislation. As you can all imagine, our constituency are business people, and any business tax relief is going to be supported by our membership. Likewise, we've got a number of initiatives that are focused on the education of our students and getting them career ready, and getting money back to the school system so that our students can be career ready is going to be very important also. So since this piece of legislation has two major aspects that are very important to our constituency, it's an opportunity to step up and do the right thing. So with that in mind, the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce is very thankful for this initiative and look forward to it getting through the process as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Scott. And as we mentioned, another prong of this, of course, is our schools. I'm very glad that we have Rochester Public School Superintendent Dr. Munoz, if you could come on up, please.
Morning. I'm very privileged to be here with you today, and I want to thank Senator Nelson for inviting me to be part of this event and to speak about the importance of education. And I believe that education is one of the central hallmarks of a civilized society. Indeed, it means by which society ensures that everything which is best for our society is passed on to future generations. Education allows individuals to become authors of their own life story. I know from my own experience that the opportunities that I have experienced are entirely the consequences of the education that have been given to me. Perhaps I value education so much because it has given me so much. But what it has given me most is a chance to shape my own destiny. For generations of my family before me, life was a matter of dealing with choices others made, living by a pattern others set. I and others like me were given the precious freedom to follow our own path, and that relates directly to one of the education's most valuable benefits as a driver of real social justice, the very best means of helping all of us realize their potential and making opportunity more equal, guaranteeing the best possible education for all. The decisions our state leaders make about education in coming years will shape our future generations to come. They will determine whether our children have the chance to reach their potential. And the rising importance of education reflects the new demands of our new world. Innovation in communications and information technology have created a global economy that is more integrated and interconnected than ever before. Our students are growing up competing with children not only in Rochester and St. Paul, but in Finland and Japan as well. What matters most, not what you do or where you live, but what you know. When 2/3 of all new jobs require a higher education or advanced training, knowledge is the most valuable skill you can possess. It is not only a key to opportunity, but it is a prerequisite of opportunity. Without a quality education, our children are less likely to keep up with their counterparts. Without a high school diploma, you're likely to make 3 times less than a college graduate, and without a college degree or industry certification, it's harder and harder to find a job that can help you support your family. It's not just that a world-class education is essential for our students to compete and win. It's an educated workforce is essential for Minnesota to compete and win. Without a student trained in math, science, and technology and other 21st century skills, Minnesota will innovate less, Minnesota's economy will grow less, and our state will be less competitive. If we want to outcompete the other states and countries tomorrow, we must educate them today. If the state of Minnesota is going to make a real and lasting difference for our future, we have to be willing to move beyond the old arguments of left and right and take the meaningful steps to build an educational system worthy of our children and our future. Today I could not help but think of all the opportunities that quality education have given me. Education has put me on a pathway to success. The reason I'm speaking to you today is to give every child in Minnesota that same opportunity, to give that child out there born with a gift for invention the chance to become the next Thomas Edison, to give that young boy out there a chance to work at Mayo Clinic and create a life-saving cure. Our future depends on it. Because I know that Minnesota makes education its top priority and adequately funds it, not only will our children be able to fulfill their potential and live out their dreams, not only will our schools out-educate the world and our workers out-compete the world, but we will make sure that the state of Minnesota remains an inspiration of opportunity and success for all. The key to unlocking human potential and creating opportunity is education. I want to challenge you today. I challenge you to work together and harder for the children of Minnesota. Consider all students to be your business, your responsibility. Put them first. Leave your differences behind and pull together for the young people today. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Munoz. And we also have three young people here today that are going to speak for us.
Hi, I'm James from Triton Public Schools. I am a part of the SAD chapter. I'm in the committee, and I'm here today to support this bill. I really like the idea that raising the tax on cigarettes can stop smokers. Both of my parents are smokers, so I deal with the issue daily. I understand the complications that it can bring, and I really feel as though this is our stepping stone to actually making Minnesota a better and greater place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Zach Pline. I'm from Cassamanerville High School. I'm one of the co-presidents of our SAD chapter out in the high school, and I strongly support this the increase in tax on smoking. It affects the health of our community, whether you're a smoker yourself or if you're a victim of the secondhand smoke on a daily basis or if you're just out in public. And the health of the community should be one of the community's top priorities. And, as it was said before, increasing the tax would be a deterrent for people to start and would be an incentive for the youth and adults alike to quit. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Amanda, and I am the Vice President of the Cassamanerville SAD group. And I also support this bill. I have a lot of friends and family that smoke and do tobacco and stuff like that, and I feel that they're trying to quit, and raising the bill would be a great help to that, and it would also prevent younger students from starting that also. And we do STARS, which helps younger kids and stop not doing that. And I just feel that getting the price more would help it.
Well, thank you very much. You can see that we have broad support here. We have support for health, we have support for education, and we support being a more job-friendly climate. With that, Representative Benson and I will open it up for any questions. It looks like our presenters did such a great job. There are no questions. Okay. Thank you for coming today. I hope you encourage your own legislators to jump on board. This bill will be introduced in the Senate. It was dropped in. It will be dropped in at 11 o'clock today. It will be online later this afternoon. It will be read on the Senate floor. It will get its first reading on Thursday.
I have a question.
Yes.
If the legislation is so good to stop the cigarette smoking by doing this, why don't you just legislate to ban cigarettes?
Well, that's not my intent. My intent is to decrease youth smoking and to use the increased revenue to pay back the school shift and become a more job-friendly state. I'm not interested in social engineering. I am interested in taking a bad tax, which makes us not user-friendly, a bad debt, which we had to undertake in the compromise with the governor. I am interested in increasing the cost of cigarettes to take care of those two problems. We do know that increasing the cost on cigarettes makes it less likely that youth will pick it up. And you know, I think every one of us in this room probably have friends and close family members who are smokers. And you know what? Not a one of them wants their kids to smoke. Not a one of them has said to me, and I've talked to many of them, Carla, I wish cigarettes were cheaper so my son Johnny could smoke more. There is not a parent alive who wishes that. And quite frankly, many adults who have been smokers for decades would wish they were not. But it's such an addictive habit. So it's a matter of encouraging and helping mostly those young people not pick it up. Anyone else? Well, thank you for coming today. We'll look forward to your great support.
Thank you.